Hello everyone, welcome to Rika's podcast. 皆さん今日も Rika's podcast へお越しいただきありがとうございます。This is a podcast where I talk about whatever that pops into my head in English and Japanese bilingual mode. So grab yourself a cup of tea or coffee or hot chocolate or whatever you want and just kick back and listen.このポッドキャストでは私リカが日々の思いなどを思いつくままに英語と日本語でお話ししています。台本なしでゆるりとまったりとお話ししています。お好きなお飲み物でも召し上がりながら聞いてください。In today's episode, I have another guest of my dear friend Chris is here. Chris is from the States and we were planning to go to eat yakiniku tonight, and then just before that we recorded this podcast, so please enjoy us talking mainly about food. Okay, let's dive in. So we have Chris here today.
Good evening. How are you?
It's been a while since you were on this show.
Yeah, almost a year, yeah?
Yeah, almost a year ago. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was like the end of or the beginning of this year.
Beginning, yeah.
Like January 2nd or something.
Yeah.
By the beach we recorded our episode. But we are here today because you're going to go eat yakiniku.
Yes. Yakiniku for all.
So yeah, it's gonna be good. So
much excited, yes.
Do you like Japanese yakiniku?
I do. I hadn't really known anything about yakiniku until coming to Japan.
So
like
it's
in
quite
America,
different from barbecue.
Yeah, American barbecue, the style is very different. The cuts of meat are different and much larger, admittedly. Yeah. So it's very different, but it's very good.
When you I watch on movies or dramas and they do barbecue in the yard.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's the thing there. I mean, you don't go to a restaurant to have barbecue.
There are definitely barbecue restaurants, especially in the southern American states, where barbecue is more famous. But typically, you're more likely to have. Especially in the northern American states, you're more likely to have barbecue by yourself. Like somebody, maybe a friend of yours, has a gas or charcoal grill, and it's more likely to be like a party type thing.
Yeah, that's what I see all the time. And then the father's job is to grill barbecue, isn't it?
Many fathers take it upon themselves to do that job. Most often, whoever's house you go to, the oldest male in that house is going to be the one who's in charge of the grill, and every man swears he's a genius behind the grill. So yeah, it's kind of a thing. Although admittedly, there are those who claim to be a genius behind the grill, but they burn everything. So, you got those people too.
そうよね. Yeah, so, barbecues. And another thing I've always wondered whenever I watch dramas, American dramas and stuff, and the men, whenever they're in the kitchen, they have like hand towel over the shoulder. What's up with that? We never do that here, I think.
You know, now that you mention it, I do that all the time.
I know. I've seen you do that as well.
I think it's very convenient. Your hands get messy, your hands get wet. You just wipe off your fingers instead of having to always find a towel or wear an apron or something like that.
So you don't wear an apron. That's why you have it over your shoulder.
Yeah.
So women usually put on aprons. So because I've never seen women do that.
I know a lot of women who do use an apron.
Oh yeah. An apron, yeah.
I know a lot of women who don't. You know, sometimes when my mother is baking, she'll wear an apron, but typically for just standard, meal cooking, she doesn't wear one.
But does she put a towel over her shoulder?
No. No, I
so
think
why?
that's I don't think I ever noticed seeing anybody do it. I just thought it was really convenient.
Oh, okay. Because I see that all the time, and
Yeah.
I always wondered, and then finally I had the chance to ask you.
I don't know why it's a thing. It's just
Mm.
it's just what I do and what apparently a lot of other people do. But yeah.
Okay, but yeah, back to yakiniku or barbecue. So the meat itself, when you do a barbecue in the States, is usually steak meat. Chicken too.
It depends. We do a lot of everything. So you have obviously you have steak. You might have hamburgers, cheeseburgers, hot dogs, sausages, chicken in a variety of cuts. You know, you might have wings, breasts, thighs.
Right.
You might have, for example, like brisket, ribs, very, very popular, barbecue ribs, a whole bunch of different kinds of meats. And you might even put, like, for example, corn. Corn on the cob. Yep.
You don't
on the
like
cob.
corn.
I'm okay with corn.
You told me that you don't like corn.
I'm okay with corn. I just don't like corn on everything. Corn by itself is good. Corn on pizza is sacrilege.
Every time I see corn or something, I think of you. How much you hate corn on everything here in Japan.
Well, like I said, I'm not certain that corn needs to be on a pastry.
They do.
But why?
It's good. It tastes good, and I think they look cute as well.
Why does food have to be cute?
It's more colors. Add more colors. A yellow.
Eat a salad. Like that's if you want color, you have a salad.
But
have lots of colors in the salad.
Yellow color brings up your appetite more. No.
No.
No, not to you.
I've never looked at anything yellow aside from candy and been like, you know what? I feel like I must eat you. Never. Outside of candy.
Picky.
I'm picky because corn doesn't belong on pizza.
Only in Japan,
Well, let me ask you this then. Okay, let's say you have two pizzas. Okay. Nah. Let's say you have one pizza. What are your favorite pizza toppings?
Pizza toppings.
If you say corn, I'm leaving. I'm just kidding. I'm not leaving. But so, what are your favorite pizza toppings? Margarita.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very simple ones like cheese and salami.
Okay.
Like that.
So, let's say you have a margarita pizza. Okay. Nice, standard, delicious margarita pizza right in front of you. Have you ever seen a margarita pizza and thought, you know what? This pizza needs corn. Have you ever thought that?
I have never thought about that.
Exactly.
But
that's what I'm saying.
If they are having like a special day or something and they throw on pizza for free, I'll be happy.
But for you, it doesn't necessarily make the pizza more delicious. You're okay with it because it's there, but it's not adding necessarily adding anything to the pizza.
But cornbread, you guys have corn.
Yes, cornbread is amazing.
Different.
Yeah, it's very different. It's
You don't really see corn.
It depends on how you make it. So they have
Some
like
do.
cornbread mix, where it's using lots of like cornmeal. So it comes out looking kind of like a cake.
Right,
or a very, very dense pie. But if you make it the traditional way from scratch, then chances are you're going to see some corn in there. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's cornbread. I would be surprised to not see corn.
Corn on bread, corn on pizza, corn on salad. So you don't like those?
Not a fan. Can't say I'm a fan. No. Corn by itself, sure. Corn as a side dish with some butter.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You would eat that.
Yeah, as a side
It's
dish.
the same thing.
No, it's not.
Just on the top of something.
So
on top of something, right?
we just passed Thanksgiving, okay?
Yeah.
Where I come from, corn is a side. So you might have corn with some butter, either on the cob or separately. You might have mashed potatoes with gravy, turkey, ham, cornbread, cranberry sauce, things like that. that's fine. But if somebody brought in, let's say, for example, a pizza with corn on it, there would be a riot. Because everyone would wonder, what are you doing? What kind of sacrilege is this?
Is it like bringing KFC to Christmas dinner?
Some people do that.
Some do.
Well, let's be honest, some of us have the gift of culinary art. Others of us are at the shallow end of the dream pool. And during a potluck, you can't show up with nothing. So showing up with KFC is better than showing up with nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, granted, if you're in my family, we're still going to clown you for, like, you couldn't make anything? Like, really? But, I don't think anybody's going to be terribly upset at a KFC, fried chicken breast or, a drumstick.
Yeah.
As long as it's extra crispy.
Right. Back to yakiniku again.
And we're back.
Getting sidetracked with food. That happens, right? But, so, like, you really don't like hormone?
Not a fan. I don't.
I'm a big fan of hormone.
Look, I don't have a problem with anybody else enjoying it. I'm just not I'm not sure how anybody can enjoy chewing on rubber bands.
It's not rubber bands.
But it is like a rubber band.
You tried it, right?
Yes.
I remember you telling me trying it for the first time.
Yes.
Maybe that's the last time you ate it.
It was first and last. Yes.
And the last. Yes. So
Same thing for natto.
What happened?
It was, so I put it in my mouth and I tried to chew on it, and maybe my jaws just aren't strong enough or my teeth not sharp enough, but my teeth wouldn't go through. It was literally like chewing on a piece of rubber. And I chewed it, and it was a good 45 seconds chewing this, and it didn't get any smaller.
I guess not. Yeah, it doesn't shrink.
Yeah, it doesn't. So I eventually just took a very large gulp of water and swallowed the entire thing.
You did.
Because that's the only way it's going down.
And was it successful?
Oh yeah, it went down and stayed down, but I didn't give it any more hormone friends. It's like, nah, it's just you. You're the last one. We don't need any more.
You said guts.
Guts?
For that in English, I mean hormone.
Hormone. Intestines, I think. Yeah.
Intestines. Okay. Yeah. That's a shame we don't like it.
No, it's not a shame. It just means more for everyone else who likes it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we really do love it here. So.
Hey, no, like I said, I don't have any problem with anybody else enjoying it.
Yeah, but sounds like you're very picky about stuff.
I have to admit, yes, I am. I am very picky.
Eat tofu?
Not a fan. Food should not move like that.
Food should not move like that. Why like you have jellos and stuff?
I don't eat jello.
You don't? Oh, you don't
Not
like
a
the
fan.
texture of that kind of thing?
Not a fan. See, the thing... So my favorite texture of food is like crunchy,
so
crispy, things like that.
The opposite side of it.
Exactly. The opposite end of the spectrum is the nuru nuru mono, the neba neba mono.
No mochi.
I'm not a huge fan of mochi, but I do enjoy ichigo daifuku. That's wonderful. Mochi by itself. Well, mochi by itself, the texture isn't too off-putting, but it just doesn't have any flavor for me. Whereas in ichigo daifuku is like you have the texture and the sweetness and the strawberries. Like, yeah, that's much better. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Or wa something mochi
Warabi mochi.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was good.
That
was really good. But it was delicious.
Really?
There are exceptions to every rule, except the one about corn and pizza. No exceptions to that. But there are exceptions to every culinary rule. So for every, we'll say, 10 or 20 foods that I dislike regarding their texture, there's at least one that breaks that rule. So, not a fan of tofu, not a fan of natto, not a fan of ika sashimi. But for example, like raw salmon, perfectly okay.
Raw salmon is okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember your story with the salmon you tried for the first time. I dig that story so much. Would you like to tell everyone about it?
Did I tell you on the first podcast or?
I don't remember where, but
well,
I think you
it's
shared.
been a year, so okay. So I had just moved to Japan, and the first thing any hungry person does when they are told that there is a grocery store in walking distance from your apartment is to go in and look for things that you recognize. Get a lay of the land. Keep in mind, at this point, I do not read kanji. I do not read hiragana or katakana. I have not studied any Japanese, and I've been here for about 3 days. Can't talk to anybody who doesn't speak English. I don't know anything. So I go to this grocery store, this Maruichi. It's right down the road from where I live. And I immediately start looking for things that I recognize. And in this Maruichi, the first section is the fruits and vegetables section. It's right in front of the door. And right after that is the seafood section. And so I'm walking around, and in my head, like, okay, I recognize this. This is a celery. These are potatoes, obviously. These are carrots. Okay, I got it. Recognize that. I can make stew. We're doing okay. I don't know what this is. It looks kind of weird. It's brown. It's got a rough texture. I think it's some kind of vegetable. I don't know what it is. Keep it moving. Why is this radish so big? Things like that. That's what's going on in my head while I'm traveling around this Maruichi. I get to the seafood section. I'm like, you know what? I want some salmon with some vegetables. I got what looks to be horenso, what looks to be spinach. I didn't know it was horenso at that point, but it was like, it looks to be spinach to me. I can wash that off, saute it. It's going to be delicious. I want some salmon to go along with it. So I get to the fish section looking for salmon, and I find it. It's pink, and it's got the shape of a salmon fillet, as if somebody took like a cross section of the entire body and shaved off the scales. It looks like almost like a horseshoe, a very thick pink horseshoe. I'm like, this is it. It's gonna be great. In hindsight, especially at that Maruichi, if I would have walked 5 feet further, this story wouldn't exist.
Oh.
Yeah. So I get the spinach, I get the salmon, and I go and I get some seasoning, some salt, some pepper. Found something what looked to be garlic powder, so I grabbed that. It's okay. We're good. Grab some olive oil. Go to checkout, buy it, walk back home, and I am excited. First home cooked meal in my new apartment, in my new living situation in Japan. So I rinse the spinach, toss it in the pan, start sauteing it. All right, that's good. Take out the salmon, throw it into the hot pan, and then things just... You ever have a moment where you think everything's good and then you immediately realize you messed up?
Yeah.
It's like that was when he knew. He messed up. That is what happened. This piece of salmon, which was supposed to be, a nice meaty fillet, literally disintegrated. Like, it fell apart like wet sand and started turning white and started popping. Like individual flecks of this, disintegration just started popping up into my face. And I'm like, I don't understand. The salmon that I know doesn't disintegrate, and it certainly doesn't fight back. So I immediately take it off the fire, and I take this whatever this is out of the pan so it will stop attacking me. And it continues to disintegrate, and then I had to ask a friend. Now I'm disappointed because now all I have is spinach. So I throw it in my freezer because it's the middle of summer. I was warned strictly don't put food waste in your trash in the summer. And so I go and ask a friend like, hey, why does the fish here disintegrate when you try to cook it? I don't understand. And so we go back to the Maruichi. I'm like, it was this right here. And my friend's like, yeah, that's fish eggs.
明太子かなんかね。
Yeah, that's fish eggs. Yeah, the salmon
It's
over there, right? And so yeah. By the way, not a fan of mentaiko. And I'm probably not supposed to cook that either. Probably supposed to eat it raw. Maybe on top of some rice, sushi style.
Oh yeah, with rice, yeah.
Yeah.
Usually.
I learned.
Yeah, that was your first encounter.
Yeah. Japanese food for the win. Nah.
That is so funny though. Yeah.
Fun times. Yakiniku is much easier.
So,
yeah. Yeah, that's the salmon story.
The salmon story. The very famous salmon story.
And like I said, it's maybe it was just me being overwhelmed by the whole experience of it, but I swore I had a piece of salmon.
It looks just like that.
Well, it was like now I can go back and immediately recognize, yeah, that I want this thing over here, this thing no, I don't need that. But when I first got here, like I swore I had meat. Like this is a nice salmon fillet. It's gonna be delicious. And so when you see like literally your culinary hopes and dreams crumbling,
yeah,
you know,
just what's happening.
Yeah, it was very unnerving for a good first 5 seconds.
That's
it's
a very
like,
good story though. I really like that.
What the ham sandwich is this? Yeah, that's what happened.
でもクリスはすごい料理が上手なんですよね。
I like to think I know a couple of things.
いやカップルオブぐらいじゃない。もっともっとですよね。Because you actually have your マイ包丁。You have your 包丁。You have your knife.
Yeah, I have several knives.
ね、すごいよね。You got them where?
I got them in a lot of random places in Japan. Like,
But those are really good ones.
Some of them are really good. I have a really nice cleaver that I got. I picked up a few knives from a private seller. Dude, he has his own like knife making business. I got maybe 3 of them from a festival where one of a knife seller was just there at the festival selling. I was like, yeah, I need one of these in my collection. So
yeah,
I bought 3.
So legit.
Yep. Even I got bored one day and made a magnetic knife block.
Oh.
Specifically for my collection. No, just it's to hold them.
Oh, okay, to hold them.
Yeah.
Hold the knives. Wow.
It's like I put it on 3M strips so it sits on my wall.
すごい.
Yep.
So it's easy to grab anytime you want.
Just pull it down and you know. But you got to make sure you dry them off quickly though, because they're all iron.
こだわりがいろいろあって。Yeah, we used to do a lot of potluck here.
Yeah.
Yeah, with my students at my place, and then you would cook something in the kitchen. So my students were so curious about what you're doing there.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
I'm the only one who shows up to a potluck and starts cooking as opposed to
With your
showing
own
up
knife.
with.
So,
Well, it's you. There's it can be frustrating when you go to cook at somebody's house and they don't have the proper implements, the proper instruments to do it.
I hear you.
There's almost for someone who enjoys like for cooking and more specifically like certain things have to be in order. So there's things that don't do what they're supposed to do bother me. So a knife that doesn't cut. Yeah. So I've gone to many people's houses and gone to cook and you know, hey, I gotta cut this chicken and they, you know, have this knife that you couldn't cut butter with. You know. So I was like, yeah, I'll just bring my own knife. Your fry pan is terrible. All right, I'll bring my own fry pan.
Good idea.
You know,
Yeah,
it works better that way.
Yeah, it does. And then I remember that time I think you cooked some, was it chicken with rosemary? Chicken?
Rosemary, thyme, garlic,
すごい美味しかったし
basil.
Yeah. And then I think you also demonstrated how to make hot chocolate here.
I did.
ね、やったね。
I
美味し
did.
かったね。まあでもね。
I was proud of that one.
I
I was proud of that hot chocolate.
You should be, yeah. Have you picked up any Japanese cuisine? You're not a big fan of Japanese food to start with.
Actually, well, I am. I learned how to make my own chicken katsu. I learned how to make nikujaga. I've done that before. That's mostly it, though. Like, I would love to learn how to make ramen, like actual ramen, but ramen takes like 24 hours, and I don't have anywhere near enough, you know, tools to make that.
What do you think of, well, we just keep sidetracking and just talking about food
That's
today.
cool.
I guess it's okay, right? What do you think about the whole, like, Japanese food culture?
As a whole, I think it's cool in that like every people in the world has their own culture surrounding food, and it's cool to see a lot of the differences in cuisine and even preparation as far as food is concerned. Like I come from the land of excess, so for example, seeing the difference between steak in like barbecue in America versus barbecue here, or for example, we have all you can eat, but there's not a whole lot of places that I know of that have all you can drink.
No, that's what I've heard.
So
yeah.
bars here doing that here. Well, I mean, I feel like there's definitely pros and cons to it.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you plan to go heavy on the alcohol that night, then Nomi Hodai is definitely a good thing. But if you're like me, where it's like you have to be in a really good mood to want to drink a lot,
you'll be prepared.
it's like I don't necessarily need. I'm going to pay 3,000 yen for this Nomi Hodai. I'm going to have 2 drinks.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because you pay for it, you want to make the most of it.
Exactly.
So.
But I mean, like I said, I'm not really big on the alcohol. So, I will say, I don't understand the culture behind, for example, sashimi or sushi. Like I know that there's a very Japanese culture is very strict on the rules and making things exactly perfect the way they're supposed to be, which is, I get that. So the rice has to be prepared a very, very specific way. It's not just, hey, I put rice in the rice cooker and now it's done, and I shape this into a rectangular box and I put some fish on top of it. Like there's preparation that goes into the rice, and there's preparation that goes into the fish. But especially in the case of sashimi, I don't understand why people can have sashimi and think, oh my god, this is amazing, because it's like, it's literally just raw fish to me. Like so the difference would be, for example, if somebody, like I watch a cooking show, and the host, obviously on a cooking show you want to make everybody look good, and the host was he was at a sashimi restaurant, and so the proprietor of the restaurant literally went out, caught a fish fresh, caught the fish, brought it in, killed it, cut it up into sashimi, and gave the host a piece of this fish, and he ate it like, oh my! They had the echo effect, and his face was shaking and everything, and my first thought was, bro, it's raw fish. Like the cook, the dude, he didn't do anything to it. He literally just cut it. He literally just caught this fish and cut it up and gave it to you.
That's what he did. But it's just the freshness of it.
I get that, but it's raw fish.
Yeah.
The difference for me, like on the contrary, I could understand that reaction for ramen. Ramen takes like 24 hours to make. Somebody was waiting over this stove and cooking. Like you cooked something, so that I can understand. But for sushi, it's like it's rice and fish, bruh. No, I get it. It's like I enjoy sushi. I really do. But I like if you were to put sushi and ramen next to each other and ask me which one is more delicious, I'm gonna hands down say the ramen because literally this is just raw fish. Like if you cooked it, glazed it in some sauce or something, I could understand. But when you just cut it off, well, it's not even the effort. Like for sushi and sashimi chefs, they are very strict and have to be trained in how to do what it is they do. And I appreciate anybody who has that level of skill and attention to anything that they do, especially when it comes to the kitchen. So no disrespect to the amount of training they have
right,
to have.
Of course.
And the skill they have to do what they're doing. At the same time, though, you didn't cook anything.
まあいやね、そうね、言われてみれば。そういうかって感じ
Whereas
するけど。
this ramen chef over here has been slaving in this kitchen for the last 24 hours.
I have never really thought about that way, I guess, but
just for me.
面白いね、面白い。That's interesting. 面白い。
I'm particular.
Very particular. Very much so, I think. Well, in a good way.
Yeah, that didn't sound like it was a good way. Very particular. You scrunched the eyebrows a little bit. Like,
in a good way.
I'm sorry.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to head out for yakiniku actually.
Yes.
We were actually planning on talking about English teaching here in Japan and then...
We got stuck on food.
Like always.
Because we're all hungry. We can do the food. We can do the teaching in Japan thing next time.
Yeah,
maybe
we
after
definitely
dinner
will.
or whatever.
Yes. Okay, we could do that. All right. Okay, that was Chris talking about food.
All the food. Good things and bad things.
Hope you enjoyed it. Okay, we're gonna head out now. Bye.
See you next time.